Hi, I'm Bill Padalon, the founding editor of Money Morning, and I want to welcome you to this exclusive Pot Stock Millionaire Summit, how to make a fast fortune on Canada's upcoming total legalization of marijuana. The money pouring into the frontier legal marijuana market is exploding. In North America alone, weed-related sales have skyrocketed 34%, creating a $7 billion green gold rush. Merrill Lynch and Bank of America, two big investment banks, both predict this market will grow fivefold to more than $35 billion over the next 3 years. For investors, all this is creating a tidal wave of profits unlike anything we've ever seen. Dozens of tiny, little-known companies are seeing their share prices double, triple, even go up as much as 10 times higher. Just look at Vapor Group, a seller of electronic vaporizer devices. Its shares soared 1,550%. OWC Pharmaceutical, which develops marijuana-based treatments for migraines, exploded 5,305%. And Signal Bay, a weed market research firm, spiked an incredible 7,367%. All told, at least 21 marijuana stocks surged over 1,000% last year. That's worth repeating. 21 weed stocks, all legally trading on American stock exchanges, have surged not just over 100%, but over 1,000%. But here's even better news for you, and it's why this Pot Stock Millionaire Summit we're holding today is so timely. A huge new catalyst has just emerged, and this one single mega event could unleash a new pot stock boom that will blow the doors off anything we've seen up to this point. Of course, I'm talking about Canada and its 100% total legalization of marijuana. This is an unprecedented event. Never before has such a large Western democracy legalized marijuana for both medical and recreational uses nationwide. Joining me now to explain exactly what's happening and to show you how to profit from it is Michael Robinson, the founding editor of Strategic Tech Investor and Money Morning's Director of Venture Capital and Technology Research. He's a 35-year Silicon Valley veteran who has been front and center on this marijuana stock boom since the beginning. In fact, Michael's market-leading Roadmap to Marijuana Millions, a comprehensive pot stock investing guide released last year, has been a runaway hit with nearly 60,000 copies claimed in just the last few months alone. In this report, Michael personally vetted and recommended 30 pot stocks that helped investors make an absolute fortune with multiple peak triple-digit windfalls. But he says that's only phase one of this historic money-making opportunity, and phase two is now underway. And the potential profits are lining up to be even more dramatic. This Canadian mega event is front and center. In fact, the Canadian government is scrambling to draft the legislation, and when it does, it could mint a whole new slew of instant marijuana millionaires. Michael, it's great to have you here today.
Bill, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to be with you.
Now, Michael, we're going to talk about Canada's legalization in a moment, and you're going to explain all the details and show folks how they can profit from it immediately with a handful of stocks you see soaring right away. But first, and this is really important, I want everybody to know this, that when it comes to picking the best and most lucrative penny pot stocks, you've got a track record that is unparalleled. As I just mentioned, your original report, The Roadmap to Marijuana Millions, was a huge success. Now, I understand you spent over a year and countless man-hours researching the industry, vetting stocks, and putting this comprehensive blueprint together. And clearly, that was time well spent. Since the November 8th presidential election, weed stocks have gone up 300%, 500%, and even gains as high as 1,400%. And looking at some of the letters readers sent you, clearly people have made a lot of money very fast. One of your readers wrote in saying he made over $39,000 in just a month and a half by following your recommendations. Another says he made $17,000 in about 3 weeks. Here's a third that says he made nearly $45,000 in under a month. Now he's targeting his first million. And these are just 3 examples of dozens of letters you received. The amount of money these folks made is incredible. It must feel pretty great to be hearing this from your readers and subscribers.
Bill, it absolutely is. Now look, when it comes to this pot stock boom, I've been telling people all along, if you don't invest in marijuana right now, you're going to regret this for the rest of your life. This really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's the best chance I've ever seen to turn a small amount of money even as little as $50 or $100 into huge cash windfalls in such a short period of time. And let me be clear, this isn't some new fad that just popped out of nowhere. California legalized medical marijuana all the way back in 1996, more than 20 years ago. So, as someone deeply involved in biotech investing in Silicon Valley for nearly 2 decades, I saw the original movement firsthand. Over the years, I've talked to dozens of CEOs, scientists, FDA regulators, even patients about marijuana's medical breakthroughs. Most people don't know this, but there have been 23,000, let me repeat that, 23,000 serious scientific papers done on cannabis, and the science is crystal clear. It works. Medical marijuana is the closest thing we have to a universal therapy. It provides relief to millions of folks suffering from Parkinson's, cancer, arthritis, post-traumatic stress disorder, Alzheimer's, dozens of diseases. Essentially, it's providing a dramatic improvement of life, a medical miracle. Now, it has taken a long time to get to this point, but now, because of all of the health benefits finally being realized, Bill, public opinion has completely turned in favor of cannabis.
Well, as a matter of fact, I just saw a brand new piece of research, a brand new poll that says 61% of Americans believe that weed should be legalized.
That's an astounding figure. If you go back 30 years ago, I bet it was exactly the reverse. I mean, it's really shifted, and particularly in the last 10 years. And you know what? This is something a lot of people aren't talking about. Our new president, Donald Trump himself, has clearly and unequivocally voiced his support for medical marijuana use. I want to make sure everyone understands that very clearly. The president is on record saying he's in favor of medical marijuana 100%. Now then, 29 states, Bill, have already legalized medical marijuana here in the United States. 16 states have decriminalized it. 8 states, plus the District of Columbia, have made both recreational and medical use completely legal. That means half the country has already given thumbs up to this once illicit business.
And now we've got Canada.
That's correct. And that will be the largest country in the world to fully legalize pot. This will be a huge bellwether event. It could signal what is to come, not in the States, but around the world. This train has already left the station, Bill. The end of marijuana's prohibition is a foregone conclusion, and the money in play is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Really, it already is. The best part is you don't have to smoke weed, grow weed, or even like weed to get rich from this boom. All you have to do is invest in the stock market. With just a few good pot stocks, you can make more money from the stock market than you've ever made before in your life.
Okay, so Michael, before we start talking about this big Canadian event, I mean, there's always this concern, when there's been a huge run up in stocks like this, that hey, I've missed out. I've been left behind. I should have done this earlier. But that's not what you're saying here. You're saying because of this new kind of phase 2, as you call it, this is still not only a good time to invest in pot stocks, but it's actually a great time.
That's an excellent point, Bill. We're really still at the very early stages of this, okay? And so what we have going on with this Canadian opportunity that's presenting itself with full legalization is what we call a catalyst. This is a brand new catalyst. This year, the market is expected to create $6.7 billion of new wealth, but that's really just chump change compared to what's coming. Many experts believe the North American market could reach $150 to $200 billion each and every year. Now, Bill, this is the closest thing you'll see to a modern-day gold rush. Marijuana millionaires are being created every day directly from the stock market, and it's not about to end anytime soon. I spent, as you said, countless hours studying this market, and I noticed a very clear pattern. Every time new legislation passes, it delivers a massive upward jolt to a small group of powerful pot stocks. Let's just look at the facts, Bill. Going back only a few years, a handful of new marijuana laws helped propel 64 weed stocks past 1,000% gains. 11 of those stocks soared past 10,000%. 5 past 25,000%. And get this, 3 were up 50,000%, and that's not even the record winner. One even surged more than 130,000%. All of these windfalls can be tied directly to marijuana legislation.
Now, we've seen, from these lows you've gotten from subscribers and your readers that a lot of folks made a lot of money on these big run-ups you've talked about. But again, just to emphasize this, I mean, are you expecting the same kind of windfalls, from this Canadian event as well?
I am. I absolutely am. Listen, this single event could be extremely lucrative if you invest in the right companies. Remember the pattern here, Bill. Every time legislation is introduced, pot stocks soar. This is true in both Canada and in the United States. So, just so I'm clear, we're not talking about a single province in Canada legalizing pot. It's the entire country, the whole shebang, from Vancouver to Toronto. Research firm Deloitte reports that legalized marijuana promises to spark a $22.6 billion industry in Canada alone. This will eclipse the sales of beer, wine, and liquor combined. So, when legalization happens, so much money will be flowing in, millionaires could be minted overnight. Now, Canada has had a well-established cannabis community, Bill, not just for a few years, but for decades. Here's the thing, dispensaries are already popping up by the hundreds. Check this out. In 2014, there were about 7,900 medical marijuana patients in Canada. By the end of last year, that number had skyrocketed to 130,000. So, it has dozens of profitable weed companies already. Of course, there are some that aren't doing so great financially. So, it's important that investors know you can't just throw your money anywhere in this area.
Okay, so we've positioned this as like the Millionaire Summit, the Millionaire Pot Summit. Let me ask you the million-dollar question. If I'm interested in investing in the Canadian market, how do I know which companies to invest in? Which ones are best?
Great question, Bill. Here's the thing. I've been anticipating this event for a long time now. My team and I spent the last several months poring over data for virtually every Canadian pot stock in existence. We looked at everything, really. Products, marketing plans, infrastructure, leadership, revenues, capital expenditures, stock charts, you name it. And after all that research was compiled, I boiled it down to 5 specific firms. These are the 5 Canadian weed companies I believe could see historic gains right away. Now, I should mention, these companies are really tiny, some trading for only $1 or $2 a share. And I don't have to tell you this, but penny stocks are riskier and more volatile than your run-of-the-mill blue chips. But this is what makes investing in pot stocks so exciting right now during this early pioneer phase. By just putting a couple of $100 now into these Canadian weed companies, you could make truly life-changing gains, the kind that can turn a few $100 into a few $100,000 overnight. Think about it. As soon as nationwide legalization begins, these small companies could see their revenues quadruple, and that means their stock shares could soar from $1 to $10. Heck, even $100 is possible. And here's why I say that. Let's take a look at GW Pharmaceuticals. They were one of the very first companies to develop cannabis-based drugs. So they were kind of like, maybe think of them as the pre-pioneers. They've developed a potential blockbuster cannabis-based drug for treating epilepsy in children called Epidiolex. It's close to getting FDA approval right now, and it could be huge. But look at their stock, Bill. 5 years ago, it was trading for around $8. Today, a single share costs $116. That's a 1,184% gain, and they don't even have their product on the market yet. That's why I say this truly is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
You've made a lot of really great points here, Michael, as always, about getting in now while the industry is still just getting started. And you and I have been around a long time, certainly long enough to know what happens if you stand around kicking the tires and thinking too long. You get left behind and you miss out on the really big gains.
Bill, that's another great point. This is every investor's dream, to get into a new industry before it truly explodes. This is like investing in Microsoft or Google or Amazon before the internet revolution, when those iconic companies were just penny stocks.
Well, we talked a lot about, your call on the U.S. market and, and how right you were with that. What makes the Canadian market so much different than its counterpart here in the U.S.?
Well, for one thing, Canadians love pot. I mean, it's very much part of their culture. In fact, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made pot legalization one of his signature campaign promises back in 2015. It actually helped him win the election. The fact is, nearly 70% of Canadians now support legalization. They've even set up a federal task force to see how legislation can be implemented.
And Michael, you actually reviewed those task force findings yourself, didn't you?
I did, Bill, and here's what I found. The task force guidelines make this a big win-win-win. Consumers win because they get clean, safe, and legal marijuana. Innovative weed businesses win because they will have access to the entire country of Canada as potential customers. And the government wins because they eliminate illegal marijuana trafficking while pocketing huge tax revenues. Actually, when you think about it, that makes this a win-win-win-win because investors win too, with a chance to make a legal fortune from Canadian pot stocks.
So, Michael, tell us more about these Canadian weed companies. I mean, what's their blockbuster potential? I mean, what are we really talking about here? I mean, how much money is there really to be made here?
A lot of money, Bill. Listen, I love these companies. Actually, one of the companies, I call it the Amazon.com of weed. You know how Amazon has those giant distribution facilities. Well, this company has a nearly 60,000 square foot facility for growing, cultivating, and harvesting several different strains of medical marijuana. But really, it's their web-friendly online infrastructure that sets this firm apart. They've made the process incredibly simple for patients to register, shop, and get products delivered directly to their door. You just click a few buttons on your computer and everything is sent to you in an unmarked white box. There's no red tape, no waiting in line, no bureaucracy to deal with. You never even have to speak to anyone if you don't want to, and their distribution network, really, it's a work of art.
I'll bet Jeff Bezos, the Amazon CEO, would be impressed.
He certainly would be. Of course, right now, this is a small company, only trading for $2 a share. But what I like best about them is they are 100% prepared to expand after legalization. When the green light goes on, or, as some people would say, as the grow light goes on, these guys will be able to ramp up in a heartbeat. That's why I'm convinced they'll see their revenues skyrocket and their stock price surge. I wouldn't be surprised to see their stock increase tenfold.
That sounds pretty awesome, Michael. Tell me about another company you like.
Well, one of them that is really high on my list is good at two things that should make them perfectly positioned as Canada goes totally legal. The first thing they do really well is R&D. No other company comes close to them in terms of research and development. These guys cultivate pot very, very seriously. They have the most modern, scientifically honed, and data-driven growing operation I've ever seen. Much of it is grown indoors in automated, state-of-the-art, climate-controlled spaces. Their facilities are huge, maybe the largest in the world. These guys are brilliant visionaries when it comes to growing. In fact, Bill, I wouldn't be surprised to see their growing techniques adopted by traditional farmers in the very near future. The second thing I love about them is their leadership is very savvy at strategic acquisitions. They've been gobbling up some of Canada's best-known weed companies in an effort to create a single online marketplace, one capable of selling everything from medical marijuana to edibles to cannabis oils, even seeds for homegrown production. I can see them dominating the entire weed industry, not just in Canada, but around the world. A small investment right now in this stock, say just a few $100s, could grow to a few $100,000 in no time. The potential rewards are enormous.
All right, Michael, so that's two. Let's go for the hat trick. Give us another one. Give us a third one.
Well, there's an innovative biotech company. Really, it's one of the more innovative ones I've seen, and being in Silicon Valley for 30 years, I've seen a lot. But this tiny Canadian biotech has found a revolutionary way to identify so-called healing cannabinoids. Now, in case you didn't know, cannabinoids are the compounds found in marijuana that are so valuable for their medicinal purposes. Most people have heard of THC, the cannabinoid in pot that makes people high. But there are literally more than 90 healing cannabinoids in marijuana that can be used to alleviate symptoms of hundreds of diseases. This company has developed a proprietary system, the only one of its kind in the world, that identifies these healing cannabinoids and then matches them to the various diseases it can help alleviate. So, this is incredibly useful technology, not just for them, Bill, but for the entire industry. It could save literally millions of dollars and years of time developing life-changing therapies. By the way, this company is trading for under $1 right now, but not for long. They also have 2 cannabinoid-based drugs ready to hit the market with potential revenue of $6 billion a year. It's trading for around 60 cents per share right now, but I believe it could double your money virtually overnight. See, they've also created a new method of biosynthesis for cannabinoids that is similar to the ones used to create synthetic insulin for millions of diabetic patients. This new method is not only being used by this company to create new drugs for their own pipeline, but it is also being highly sought after by the entire industry. And any day now, the tool is expected to be available for labs to purchase. So it's the kind of stock that could see its share price jump from 60 cents to $2 or $3 virtually overnight.
So, Michael, it's pretty clear that a lot of people could become marijuana millionaires from companies like these. And you have a special announcement for all the folks listening right now. I mean, you've compiled everything they need to know about these Canadian stocks that you're talking about here into a single, detailed, powerful briefing, correct?
That's right, Bill. In fact, I want to send this briefing to everyone listening today for free. I'm calling it How to Make a Fast Fortune on Canada's Upcoming Total Legalization of Marijuana. Like I said, Bill, I've worked on this for several months. It's a complete and thorough analysis of 5 Canadian weed stocks that could deliver 1,000% profits or more to investors. If you want to cash in on this historic opportunity, Bill, this is your ticket.
That is awesome, Michael. So, in this investor briefing we've talked about here, you're going to give folks details on 5 Canadian pot stocks, including the 3 you've detailed here today. So, you've got the Amazon.com of weed stocks, one that you think could make investors 10 times their money. Then you've got the visionary company with the state-of-the-art growing facility, the largest in the world, that's on the verge of creating a massive windfall for investors. And you also have all the details on this unique biotech company that has developed a revolutionary cannabinoid detection tool that pairs diseases with treatments derived from marijuana. And you think that each of these stocks have the potential for 1,000% gains?
Yes, Bill, that's right. Now, it's a total of 5 Canadian pot stocks in this report, but there's 2 that we really haven't talked about, and they also have the potential for 1,000% gains. One is a penny stock that is absolutely going to kill it when pot gets fully legalized. They are the first weed company in Canada exclusively focused on supplying businesses, not consumers, with weed and weed-related products. Think of them as a big weed wholesaler. That means they could develop long-term contracts with dozens of dispensaries, edible makers, biotech firms, cannabis oil extract makers. The list goes on and on. So, the growth potential here is off the charts for this trailblazer. And here's the thing. It's only trading for a little over $1 right now. And the final company, Bill, I want to talk about today, this is one I really love. It's another grower. But this $3 company has a unique niche. Everything they grow is 100% organic. That's a big plus for a lot of sick folks who need medical marijuana, because growing organic eliminates synthetic and chemical pesticides, which could be very dangerous to some people. Plus, this company has perfectly positioned themselves for huge growth as soon as legalization passes. They're in the middle of a major expansion. Their goal is to be the biggest producer in the industry. And Bill, they're already on target to increase their capacity to 17,000 kilograms of weed per year. In fact, just to show you how excited investors are about this tiny organic weed grower, one of Canada's biggest investment firms with over $50 billion in assets just bought a $35 million stake. If that's not a buy signal, Bill, I don't know what is. So, here's the bottom line. When you think about what's coming, I'm talking about 100% legalization of marijuana in a big country like Canada. There's not one iota of doubt that the folks listening to us right now will have the chance to make a life-changing fortune.
So, okay, Michael. So, I mean, obviously the potential for gains are enormous here, but I know from working with you for such a long time, that you're a straight shooter. You lay all the cards on the tables for your subscribers and your readers. Tell us a little bit about the risks too.
I'm more than happy to, because you do really have to. Any investment includes risk, right? It's all about the risk-reward ratio. And so this is what's important. I see a really great opportunity here. Of course, past performance is never a guarantee of future results, and quadruple-digit gains aren't exactly commonplace in the stock market. So I can't guarantee which or if any of these stocks will hit quadruple digits. But think about this, Bill. Not long ago, Stevia Corp here in the United States, it's a marijuana grower. It saw its stock soar 30,426% in under a year and a half. So, and this is really amazing, $500 in Stevia Corp could have delivered an amazing $152,630.
That's stunning. So tell us about another one.
Well, here's one. It's a great example. Green Cure's Botanical Distribution. It also was a penny stock, but it exploded to $5.92 a share for a 36,412% gain. So here's what that means. $500 in Green Cure's Botanical Distribution could have transformed into $182,000.
Wow, that's another stunner. And I think you have one more to share, right?
I do, as a matter of fact, Bill. Peak Pharmaceuticals is another great example. Between November of 2010 and April of 2014, the share price of this penny stock soared 53,471%. That, to me, is mind-blowing. And here's what the money we're talking about looks like. It would be enough to transform just $500 into $267,855. So you can see, Bill, you don't have to risk much in terms of money for life-changing potential gains. All you need to do is hit it big with one of these 5 Canadian pot stocks that I cover in my briefing, How to Make a Fast Fortune on Canada's Upcoming Total Legalization of Marijuana. Even if just one of the stocks in this briefing hits it big, you'd be telling that story for the rest of your life. You know what, Bill? You'll be the most popular guy at any cocktail party you go to.
Well, it's certainly not one of those fish stories about the big one that got away, that's for sure. And Michael, you're right. Gains like these are life-changing, truly life-changing. Now, Michael, your briefing on how to make a fast fortune on Canada's upcoming total legalization of marijuana is valued at $149. But you're here to tell listeners how they can get a copy of this briefing for free.
That's exactly right, Bill. I'm going to tell everyone how they can receive a free copy in just a moment. But first, I have another surprise for everyone. Folks listening tonight may have seen me talk about my original weed investing Bible I wrote called The Roadmap to Marijuana Millions.
Now, this is the report I referred to earlier about your top U.S. pot stocks, right?
That's correct, Bill. Well, the good news is I've just put the final touches on a completely updated and revised version of it called The Roadmap to Marijuana Millions Phase 2. I call it that because we really are right now moving into Phase 2 of this pot stock boom. There's a huge amount of momentum pushing more states in the U.S. to legalize marijuana, and it's going to happen very quickly. 8 to 10 new states could legalize pot this year. We're talking New Jersey, Texas, Kentucky, Vermont, and Missouri, just to name some of those on the list. Things are moving fast.
You're right, Michael. Just the other day, on March 31st, Delaware lawmakers unveiled a new bill that would legalize pot recreationally, and they say they have the public support and the votes to make it pass.
Well, the same thing's going on in Illinois, Bill. Even in Nebraska, which has a very conservative legislature, that state just proposed Bill 622, aimed to legalize medical marijuana. The states, of course, have a huge incentive: money. Just look at Colorado, which legalized pot in 2014. Dispensaries sold a staggering $1.3 billion worth of marijuana in 2016, giving the state close to $200 million from marijuana sales taxes and fees. That's just one state in just 1 year. Remember the pattern, Bill. Every time legislation is introduced, pot stocks soar. And my research indicates this Phase 2 could give investors much bigger returns than we saw in Phase 1. The reason here is really simple. The market in the U.S. just keeps getting bigger and bigger Where once you had a few companies on the fringe, now you have a giant legal marijuana ecosystem with hundreds of companies raking in cash.
So, Michael, in this new updated report, you've vetted and selected 25 pot stocks, most of them trading for $1 to $2 a share, and your research shows that they have the greatest potential for pot stocks in the U.S.
That's right, Bill. These are the Phase 2 companies with the biggest upside that, along with the Canadian stocks, every pot stock investor should seriously consider. Let me be clear. These companies aren't ragtag startups being run by bong-smoking potheads wearing tie-dye shirts and sandals. These are advanced, Silicon Valley-like firms led by brilliant, savvy, and highly ambitious entrepreneurs. They come from the entire ecosystem. So we're talking growers, high-tech innovators, land and real estate developers, dispensaries, edibles, biotech, and banking and venture capital. Each of these areas is loaded with unique businesses breaking out simultaneously. But like I said, I've narrowed it down to just 25, all publicly traded companies I predict could soar during this Phase 2 round of legalization. So if you just put a couple of $100 right now into a few of these Phase 2 stocks I'm recommending, it could earn you once-in-a-lifetime windfalls. And for folks joining us tonight, Bill, I want them to not only have a free copy of How to Make a Fast Fortune on Canada's upcoming total legalization of marijuana, I'd also like them to get a new version of the Roadmap to Marijuana Millions, Phase 2, absolutely free.
That's awesome, Michael. So you're going to send both of these reports to listeners absolutely free. The Canada-focused How to Make a Fast Fortune on Canada's upcoming total legalization of marijuana, plus the new Roadmap to Marijuana Millions, Phase 2, which contains the absolute best 25 publicly traded pot stocks in the United States. It's like you're giving them both barrels. All the best pot stocks in Canada and all the best pot stocks in the United States, both at the same time. Now, you mentioned to me that given the size of some of these marijuana companies, you have to limit access to these reports. So you can only allow 1,000 people to take you up on this offer today.
Excellent point, Bill. These pot stocks are so small that we have to be careful how many people get my research on them. But I'm going to make this as easy as possible for those who want to get all of my analysis and the opportunity to jump on these Canadian stocks to do so right now. I will be sending the reports for free to the first 1,000 people today who agree to try out a 100% no-risk subscription to my Nova X report.
Okay. For folks listening who don't yet know, the Nova X Report is one of the best tech investing newsletters out there. It is your investment research newsletter focused on small, little-known companies from Silicon Valley and the tech industry, the area you know best. So looking at your track record, sitting right here in front of me, in your closed and open portfolio over the last 16 months alone, you've given your subscribers 32 double-digit and triple-digit winners, including gains of 265% on NVIDIA, 213% on Broadcom, and 102% on Skyworks Solutions, just to name a few. And that doesn't even include your pot stock winners. These are just the high-tech plays. Michael, explain Nova X Report's role in everything we talked about today. How does this fit in with what you're doing here?
Well, with the Nova X report, Bill, I'm looking for small companies with a stranglehold. Could be a technology, a medical treatment, a process innovation. If this gives them a stranglehold on a sector with billions of dollars of potential, that's what I'm looking for. The Nova X report takes folks behind the curtain, so to speak, so they can tap into the greatest source of individual wealth creation in the history of the human race.
You're talking about, of course, innovation.
Yes, I am. Things like Bitcoin, for instance. It was one of the hottest investment stories back in 2013 and 2014. In June of 2013, I alerted readers that the time to get into this digital currency had arrived. That's because just weeks before, I had met with several CEOs, founders, and venture capitalists in California. They were at the forefront developing the currency exchanges and investment funds that would push Bitcoin into the headlines. At the time, Bill, and I know, in retrospect, it sounds kind of crazy, but it was trading for just $90. I want to repeat that. Bitcoin at that time was trading for just $90, Bill. But then Bitcoin skyrocketed 1,192% over 5 months that followed. It peaked at $1,163. People from across the country were making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some were even banking millions. I look at investing in marijuana stocks today just like I did Bitcoin back then. I believe it gives you the chance to become a millionaire.
And you know, Michael, again, from having worked with you for a long time, I know that Bitcoin and pot stocks weren't the only opportunities that you identified long before anyone else. There was also rare earth metals, which you were the first to recognize in terms of their profit potential.
You know, Bill, that was another specialty of mine because I personally knew the advisors and board members of many rare earth mining companies. This allowed me to target 4 specific firms: Rare Element Resources Limited, Avalon Rare Metals Inc., Quest Rare Minerals, and Great Western Minerals Group. Together, they delivered 990% total gains in only 16 months. Across the board, my team and I at Money Morning have time and time again brought the hottest venture capital-like stock opportunities to our readers. Ambarella, Celldex Therapeutics, Ram Energy Resources, Westport Innovations, Pharmacyclus, NVIDIA. Some of these we've already closed out. Others are still open, and their peak gains are enormous. These are the types of opportunities I regularly bring to readers of the Nova X Report.
So, Michael, tell us what's involved with being a Nova X Report member.
Every month, Bill, I send members a hard copy and a digital version of each new edition of my Nova X Report. Each edition comes with 2 exciting investment opportunities I've personally vetted. For instance, Bill, in a recent Nova X report, I shared a pioneer in cryopreservation technologies. This is just starting to be used in cardiac and vascular surgeries involving implantable living human tissue. Already, 1,000 surgeons at 800 facilities in the U.S. are implementing this company's breakthrough. But the growth is about to expand to 75 nations. In another Nova X Report edition, I found a company that developed a honeycomb advanced material. It could create the lightest and fastest aircrafts in history. From drones to miracle materials like graphene, 3D bioprinting, big data, we've targeted opportunities in all of these areas. Each monthly edition of the Nova X Report, Bill, provides a streamlined analysis of 2 massive trends and a thorough examination of 2 investment targets. I'll cover each company's financial strength, proprietary technologies, sources of venture capital funding, and profit predictions. Then, every week, I release the Nova X Progress Report. This keeps readers up to speed on any new developments, product launches, earnings reports, and current gains. And whenever the moment arrives to collect any profits, members get an instant trade alert. For instance, Bill, with Micron Technologies, folks following my research had the opportunity to get in and out of that trade in a single day. One reader even let me know he captured 140% from that play while on a cruise.
And you also have a website where all this information is stored, correct, Michael?
That's right, Bill. It's called the Nova X HQ. This is my exclusive website where I store every intelligence briefing, investment recommendation, and alerts. And if members have any administrative questions about their subscription, I encourage them to take advantage of the Nova X VIP concierge service.
So clearly, Michael, your Nova X report is a very comprehensive service. I mean, you send folks a new issue every month with up to 2 new high-tech profit plays, progress reports, 24/7 access to the website, and a VIP concierge service to answer all administrative questions. The website gives members full access to all of your research, all of your reports, all of your past issues, everything, and all of that for a price of $299. But today, listeners of the special Pot Stock Millionaire Summit won't have to pay anywhere near that amount, correct?
That's right, Bill. Today and today only, I'm authorized something special for folks tuning into this Pot Stock Millionaire Summit. A lot of listeners tonight are readers of my Strategic Tech Investor, and they know that I came out way before the November 8th election urging folks to get in on the pot stock boom. I predicted the vote would be historic. I also predicted a big chunk of states would vote to legalize cannabis and create a huge windfall for tiny pot stocks.
And Michael, that's exactly what happened.
That's right. And for thousands of folks who've already joined Nova X, received the original Roadmap to Marijuana Millions report, and made small investments in U.S. pot stocks, well, Bill, the payoff was enormous. Like you said earlier, the marijuana industry absolutely exploded. Folks made thousands upon thousands of extra dollars. A small stake in this red-hot market could have made them into instant millionaires. So I congratulate those people for going with their guts, being bold, and making the move to invest in marijuana. And as I said before, Bill, I am looking at pot purely as a market analyst. When it comes to pot, all I care about is, can investors make money in this market? And the answer is heck yes. Tons of it. A lot of folks stood on the sidelines the first go-around, but I sincerely don't want them to miss this next big opportunity. Like I said, we're moving into phase 2. The 5 Canadian pot stocks I'm recommending could soon double, triple, even quadruple. And I want to make sure that some of the strategic tech investor readers who stood by on the sidelines last time understand what's at stake here. You do not want to miss this historic opportunity. Look at it this way. A small stake in any of the 5 Canadian pot stocks I'm recommending could make you more money in the stock market than you've ever made in your life. Plus, Phase 2 also includes new legislation about to hit in the U.S. The momentum is stronger than ever to legalize marijuana. Up to 10 states, Bill, remember we've talked about this, but just in case people missed it, up to 10 new states could legalize it this year. And remember the pattern here. When laws pass, stocks soar. So I also don't want people to miss out as these pot stocks fly even higher than before.
So, Michael, that's why you're letting everyone get both of your pot stock investment reports for free, along with a trial subscription to your Nova X report.
That's right, Bill. I'm authorizing a 30-day money-back guarantee if at any time during the next 30 days they feel this isn't right for them. All they have to do is contact me, and I will instantly return every penny of their membership dues, no questions asked. And they can keep the guide, How to Make a Fast Fortune on Canada's upcoming total legalization of marijuana, as well as the Roadmap to Marijuana Millions Phase 2 as my gift, regardless of their decision.
Wow, Michael, that's amazing. Just to recap for you folks, Michael Robinson has just authorized a special one-time offer exclusively for listeners of this Pot Stock Millionaire Summit. If you act now, you will have Michael's 5 top Canadian pot penny stocks in your hands with his full report, How to Make a Fast Fortune on Canada's upcoming total legalization of marijuana.
That's right, Bill. Remember, Canada plans to make marijuana legal throughout the land, and the 5 hand-picked stocks in this report could make readers into instant millionaires.
Then, Michael is going to send you his completely new Roadmap to Marijuana Millions, Phase 2. Here, you'll get 25 U.S. pot stocks set to soar as 10 new states aim to legalize pot in 2017. You'll also get 12 issues of the Nova X report, the best tech newsletter in the market today. That's 2 hot new stock picks every month. Michael is even giving you a 30-day money-back guarantee. So, if at any time during the first 30 days you don't like what you see, simply contact Michael Robinson and you'll receive a complete refund of your membership. So this is truly an unprecedented opportunity. You really have absolutely nothing to lose. But you must act quickly. Michael has only 1,000 spots available today. To claim yours, simply click the button below. I want to thank you for taking part in this special Pot Stock Millionaire Summit. I'm Bill Padalon, and on behalf of myself and Michael Robinson, good day.